Hello and welcome to Elevate 2020 Part 2. We're coming to you live from the Zuiveringshal Westergasfabriek in Amsterdam. I'm Lauren, I'm a Dutch TV reporter and I'm diving into the world of payments these days. Thanks for joining me and of course thanks for joining the Adyen team for this second day of Elevate. We've got another amazing session in store for you. Yeah, and in case you missed out part 1, there's a quick recap of all the great insights from yesterday's session. Welcome to Elevate 2020 Part 1.
It's great to be surrounded by such great entrepreneurs and creative minds here today. So welcome all.
People just learn to understand what online delivery means for them.
Yeah.
Very convenient. And then they will stay.
To every downside, there are also upsides, and that's the thing to focus on, in my opinion.
Especially during COVID, you have a lot of time, especially at home.
Yeah.
So start brewing, everybody.
I want to found a club for disabled children with the name Sportclub Only Friends.
And let's do a final check to see where our Only Friends donations are at.
I'm so grateful you helped me with this opportunity, and I hope a lot of people embrace Only Friends.
I'm sure they will.
Cheers! Yeah, and today we'll be focusing not just on how to grow your business, but also on how to make a positive impact while you do that. We'll be hearing from the CEO of Domino's Pizza Europe, the co-founder of Van Moof, the CEO of GoSharing, plus Adyen's very own CFO. Get ready to learn how to future-proof your business. But most importantly, by giving your time to watch today's sessions, you'll be helping a very important organization, Only Friends. Only Friends gives young people with disabilities access to sports clubs, a place to find support, friendship and confidence. Adyen will donate to Only Friends for every viewer that's watching Elevate in honor of this amazing initiative. According to the Adyen's retail report, over half of all customers would go out of their way to buy from brands with a social conscience. And even a greater number say that ethical business is more important to them after the COVID-19 pandemic. How can businesses adapt to these evolving expectations? Let's hear what Ingo Uitenhage, Adyen's CFO, and Dominique Simons, Adyen's Head of Impact, have to say. It's time for courage and community, being a positive force of change. And for you at home, afterwards there will be a moment with audience questions. So send them to us in the group chats. All right, let's go. Ingo, Dominique, let's go.
Thank you, Lauren. Well, it's great to be here today and to talk about social impact. I think since we've been building Adyen, we have always focused on building it for the long run. It's crucial in all the decisions that we make. And what we want to do today is also talk about how we take our broader responsibility to society. Because over the recent years, we've been focusing on what can we do as a business to create a bigger impact. And today, Elevate is, I think, a great podium to demonstrate what we have learned so far, but also to talk about how we can help merchants to grow their business and to interact with their consumers. So great to do that today, Dominique.
Wonderful. Thanks, Ingo. I hear you say impact. What does impact mean to you, and how do you think it's important for Adyen?
Yeah, I think impact starts always very small. I think that's how you should look at it. I think that's also how we tried to build our impact strategy at Adyen. And small means, or local means, that you want to do good for the things that happen around you. So we have 20 offices around the world. And those local teams, they are often connected to local activities. And that's how they create impact on a local scale. At the same time, you can think about what kind of impact do we have on the global scale. We have, of course, our own carbon footprint. And in the recent years, we've been focusing on what can we do to offset that carbon footprint. And we have invested heavily in projects to compensate for our footprint and basically compensated everything since the start of our company.
Yeah.
But that's part of, I think what you should do. It's like the fundamentals of building a business. The real question is like, how can you make even more impact? How can you make impact with the technology that we've built? And I think that's where we want to talk about today, because technology is at the heart of our company.
Yeah.
And if you think about, for instance, what we have done over the recent years, taking friction out of the payments flow, we want to do basically the same with, for instance, donations. So we've built technology to help our merchants to make donations easier. And I think that's a product that is super cool. And you can think also of broader initiatives, what we're going to discuss later today, how we can use our technology and do good.
Yeah, great.
So that's it. And if you then think about what we do, you're working quite a bit with merchants in the impact space.
Yeah.
How do they look at this? And how do they deal with all the stakeholders that are involved if you talk about impact?
Great question. So looking at the stakeholders, let me just start by the shoppers, the customers of our customers. And I think most of us know or assume, and by now, that shoppers rather buy from brands that they associate with doing good. I think that's not really new. But what we see more and more is that as a brand or as a business, talking about what your CSR strategy is, what your activities are, or what your values are, isn't really enough. It's about them, but it's not about you as a shopper. So what they expect more and more, actually, is how the brands can help them to do good. So how can you be facilitated as a shopper to do good and to make the right choices when you buy online or in store? At the same time, we see that the merchants that we talk to like this a lot. So they've done a lot when it comes to fundraising or volunteering. And usually they have like their an impact strategy already, but they've never really had the opportunity yet to include their shoppers also in this strategy. And you see that they want that more and more. And it's great, it really excites me to have conversations with them and how we can help them with our technology to do so. And then when you look at who is then benefiting, obviously the shoppers and the merchants, but who is eventually benefiting as well from these trends, I think that are the good causes that are supported. And you see that they need the help more than ever before. In these times where government help is declining, but also shopper behavior, giving behavior actually is changing more and more. People don't want to have lifelong subscriptions to just one specific charity. So they need to find new ways in which they can fundraise. And through the products that we are making, we're helping them.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So you actually would say, well, it's a no-brainer. Something like donations in checkout, or at least functionality in checkout to help them for these good causes. Why isn't not everyone doing this?
Yeah, I think that's the key question.
Yeah.
That's also what we asked ourselves. And this has to do with all the legacy systems that are around us. I think the fact that we have built a new payment stack where everything is integrated really helps us, because typically if you want to do a donation, there's a lot of friction. If you just think about the merchant that wants to reconcile the funds flows that they get, they need to make a distinction between what their funds are and what the funds are for the charity.
Yeah.
Well, this is something that we simplify. So we make sure that this is basically being administered by us. And the typical legacy players can't do this easily. Often if you talk about good causes and you want to support this in your checkout flow, you need to work with third parties. Third parties that you need to integrate to separately, also that come with a certain cost. So the effectiveness of giving is relatively low. You have the ratio from cost to revenues, or the donation that you make is relatively high.
Yeah.
And of course you want to do it good. You want basically a 100% conversion, of course.
Yeah.
So that's a very important thing.
Yeah.
We want to lower the barriers basically for our merchants and make sure that we help them in that way. If we talk about this, what kind of examples do you have? What kind of merchants have been working with this already?
Yeah, well, actually, what you're saying just now is something that we're hearing from so many merchants that want to implement solutions like this. Yeah. So a good example is of a UK domestic retailer. They sell beautiful British country homeware, and they've been always giving back a lot. They have like a set of charities that they care for, but usually just in fundraising themselves or with their staff being volunteering. And they wanted for so long already to help their charities with a more structural way of income. That was donations and checkout. However, they couldn't do it. Their finance teams, their IT teams, they were just blocking it. And not because they didn't believe in it or they didn't want it, but the operational hassle on their end was just so big. I mean, like you said, they had to reconcile the donation transaction from the commercial one. Their reporting became a mess. They had all these third-party integrations that they had to manage, and there are costs incurred. So it never really made sense for them to actually do it until they found out about our product, Adyen Giving, and they were really just set up. The integration effort is so light. Especially in point of sale, it's just a configuration. So they were up and running in a few days.
Cool.
And what we can do for them is we settle the donation transaction in the back end. We do it as 2 transactions, although it feels like 1 for you. We settle that directly to the charity. And because we eat the interchange and scheme fees, actually 100% goes to charity. So they were super happy with that. And what you're seeing is that also because it is so flexible in the sense that they can choose with what kind of charity they want to work and where, is that they are able to give back to super local small charities, and that for them the impact is so huge that we're even seeing with some of these local charities that they're just doubling in their income.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's
really amazing.
Impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah.
I would say. Yeah. So, what do you think? If you hear all these great stories, what do you think the future would bring us?
Yeah, so I think it's very important to continue to build on this. And we, of course, have a dream to get to a certain milestone. And that milestone is to get to at least 1 billion of donations that would go to good causes or causes that support the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations.
Yeah.
So we're basically asking a lot of our customers to start using this product as well, because we think that's a great way to get there. And of course, we want to further expand on this technology. So we're also going to use it in a similar way for offsetting. So we're going to talk this afternoon about offsetting in the checkout. And this is a great way also for consumers again, if they check out with a merchant, that they can offset their carbon footprints of this product or service that they actually buy.
And really in line with that trend, that you see that they expect their brands to facilitate them making good choices.
That's exactly what it is. So shall we see if there are any questions from the audience?
Yes.
Let's invite Lauren to our conversation.
Guys.
Hi.
Thanks for the interesting talk. I've got 2 questions from the audience. The first one is, hello, how are changing customer demands influencing the corporate responsibility landscape?
You want to say a few words?
From merchants? I think shoppers, especially for our merchants, are so important. And you see that they often just drive what they need to, I mean, it used to be another way around, but they are deciding how customers should help them, right? I want to pay now, I want to be able to do it everywhere, I want to be facilitated. So I think that we should listen to them.
But I think it's very much also the trend that you were just describing. Like traditionally, my parents would give on a monthly basis to a certain charity for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And I think young people, they want to decide basically on a single transaction like, hey, this is a good cause, I want to donate a few euros, and then move on to the next thing. And making that also part of their brand experience. I think that's the fundamental change that we see.
You have to be much more flexible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, and then the second question. Yeah, are you ready?
Yeah.
How can companies continue to make the world a better place for the future? And what are the main challenges they will face in doing so? Sorry.
I think, at least what I'm seeing, what's been working quite successful for us, is if you actually look at what as a business you are really good at and what you've built in our case, of course, that's technology and an infrastructure and a lot of knowledge around that. But if you really look at what we've built now for business with a business purpose, is there a way, because that's what we're really good at, is there a way that you can use that same infrastructure, technology or service to also for a social or environmental purpose? And I think in a lot of times that's possible, and that's so strong because you're really good at it.
And what do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is really about integrating into your business, not like a form of greenwashing where you talk about it and do something separate next to your normal business. No, you really need to incorporate into your main business activities. If you don't, it becomes just very difficult. I think the way that we've tried to integrate it into our technology makes it relatively easy to have a real impact.
So it has to become a habit as well. Like it's really in all your everything. Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time and your talk. Thanks. Yeah, as this year has demonstrated, of course, it's impossible to predict the future. But it's clear that businesses who can respond quickly to change will succeed in the long run. So how do you build a business for the future? It's now time for our group talk show on how to future-proof your business. Co-founder of Van Moof, Taco Carlier, has launched a fleet of e-bikes that are ridden worldwide by thousands of people. Van Moof is helping to redefine city mobility forever. The same goes for GoSharing, whose bright green scooters are a symbol for sustainability. Raymond Powell, CEO, is committed to making sustainable transport accessible to everyone. Welcome, guys. And Roeland, also nice to see you again. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Lauren. Raymond, Taco, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, I'm gonna dive straight into this. So I think the topic is about thinking about being ready for the future, how to be ready for change whenever it's needed. So the question I have for you, how do you think about being future-proof as a company in these times of rapid change? What are your thoughts, Taco?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a strange question right now, as we have the feeling that we're in the middle of the future right now. It's a complete madhouse. The pandemic changed everything for us. Suddenly, the whole world is discovering. People in cities all over the globe are discovering the benefits of e-bikes, and right now for us, it's just keeping up with demand. So ramping up production, scaling customer support, investing massively in our systems, just in order to stay afloat. So it's a little bit weird to think about the future for us right now, but yeah, so we're in it.
But as a company, when you started with your brother, I don't think you guys started with an e-bike. So at some point you made a change. How did you do that? How do you make those decisions?
Me and my brother started 11 years ago with the mission to get as much people on bikes in San Francisco, New York, Paris, London and Tokyo as we have in our hometown of Amsterdam. Because bikes changed Amsterdam into a better, healthier, more livable city. So we want to bring that to the rest of the world. The first, I think, 3 years we sold regular bikes, so non-e-bikes. But after a few years, we found out that if you really want to get the masses on bikes in cities like San Francisco and New York, you have to come up with e-bikes, because in those cities it's just too hard to commute for the masses to commute on a regular bike, because, for example, New York is too hilly, it's too big, and it's too warm in the summer. So e-bikes changed that, and so about 8-9 years ago we switched to e-bikes, and then the company started growing really fast, and now it's just accelerating and accelerating.
Cool, clear. Raymond, you haven't been going for 11 years with this, but do you already think about being future-proof, or is that not a topic at all?
No, it's not 11 years, not just over 11 months. So we're just existing for 14 months. But yeah, I think you need to be flexible and to adapt fast if any changes are coming. We saw it also with COVID. We had already 2,000 electric vehicles on the road, and we needed to adapt. So we also offered our scooters for delivery options. And I think this is also what is being needed in the future, to adapt and be flexible.
Right. Okay.
But I've got a question also for you, but the technology changes faster than ever. You talked about it already, especially now, but it goes on and goes on. How do you keep up with that?
Yeah, I think the technology is one of the most important parts, also for our sharing platform, where everything is about technology. If it's the app where you need to do the reservation or ending of a scooter, or even the payment. So the technology is helping us to be more efficient and to getting more out of the service, and in the end, get the best experience for the customers.
Yeah, that's right. I think you have to, it's important that the customers stay at the middle. So you shouldn't become too technology driven, but it's all about customer demand. So the most important thing is, in times like this, is establish that real connection with your customers. Mm-hmm. So I'm a strong believer of direct to consumer sales. And I think all direct-to-consumer brands have the future, and that traditional brands will have difficulties. And so it's important to somehow establish a direct connection with the customer, and then technology helps to do so.
Yeah, to make it easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah?
Especially. Yeah.
Hey, and Roeland, how is Adyen helping merchants to stay flexible?
I think that links very much to what Taco says about, listening carefully to your customers. So I think in Adyen, we've always been a very pragmatic company. We were never the visionary inventors of, a new payment method to replace everything else. Mm-hmm. But we've always very much looked at, hey, what are the challenges that our customers or potential customers face, and how can we solve those problems with technology? And that's always been the driver of the platform we built. And that approach we still use today. And
what's the best example of it? Can you give one?
Examples are, we have customers, for example, that run into a problem like we talked about yesterday with Picnic. Mm-hmm. They run into an actual challenge that they see that people order at Picnic for Sunday delivery, and they order something. They make their order on Tuesday for 150 euros to be delivered. But then in the days that follow, I forgot to.
That's me ordering with Picnic.
Milk, or I got
to.
People add, and that means additional transaction for them. A payment transaction that you need to reconcile, which is putting it into the administration, makes it a bit complex. So for them, we now, together with some others, develop a new payment method for them based on MeisterCard. But effectively what it does is you combine that into a single transaction. The moment you change and you add something to your order, it's not another transaction, but the original transaction changes to another amount. That's for them very, very useful in their specific case. So then we look at that, we develop it together, and then we see whether it works well, whether people adopt it. If it does, we'll do more and more and more. If it doesn't, okay, we pause. Yeah. That's how we tend to do that.
It's funny because when you're like somebody who orders like groceries, you never think about that. Just order an extra milk.
That's the idea, that you keep the payment hassle away. That's what we try.
I think another example about this is what we also have seen by Go Sharing. So what we did, we do pay as you go. So with your credit card, you only pay for your rental. But the people that use it daily, they also said to us, we need to pay every day again, while we already know that we're going to drive another time tomorrow. And then Adyen came to us and they said, your loyal customers, you need to help them. And why shouldn't we do a payment once every week or every month? Because you know they will use your service tomorrow again. And this also helped us a lot to make an easier rental for the customers and not pay every day, but just do it once a month. So to make it easier for customers to use it and also to have a better flow.
Yeah. What customers' demands have surprised you guys the most? It's more for you, I guess. Well.
Yeah, well,
Let me start with.
It's also for you, of course, but that's
I'm
different.
always surprised and entertained by the German customers. Somehow, so we have a store in in Berlin, and always when I'm in that store, I'm surprised by these customers coming in, and it sometimes seems to me that all Germans are engineers. The questions they have, and
But what kind of question?
yeah, it's like Dutch come in and they say, "Oh, cool bike. What color do you have?" And Germans are like, "Oh, cool. Where is it made from?" And I said, "Yeah, it's aluminum." And they say, "Oh, yeah, I know, but what kind of aluminum?" So
Really?
things that I even don't know, and I'm always that always
Surprises you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but in general, I think the customers become more and more demanding, and every year that increases. So they want.
Why is that?
No, they want more service, and they want it now. They don't. They're not used anymore to be in a waiting line for a customer support. They want service,
How
and they
come?
want it now.
Why is that?
Maybe it's a little bit because of the pandemic. I hope that the tension will be released a little bit after the pandemic. But in general, they're used to better service.
Yeah,
and
they're used to everything fast.
Yeah,
maybe as
to
well,
the real-time service on the spot right now.
Yeah.
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 I can ask you a question about
Yeah.
the product development, because you have thousands and thousands of consumers. They all have their needs and questions, but how do you funnel what everybody would want to see, and how do you turn it into a product? Do you get a lot of feedback, or do you mostly think about it yourself and then bring it to them?
Yeah, feedback is the most important thing for us, and I think for all modern brands. So the way what differentiates Vermouth from any other brand in this industry is that we own the entire supply chain. We reinvented how bikes are made using a complete vertical integration of the supply chain. And on top of that, we sell direct. And selling direct means we have all the data. We know what issues our customers are having. We know how much they ride. We know how much they like the product. And all that knowledge we use to improve the product on a weekly basis. And we can because we own the supply chain.
On a weekly basis?
Yeah. It's like, for example, if things happen with the bikes, we can divert that directly to the people at the production facilities. So it's one company, and it should operate as one company. That's what we call the vertical integration, and that's what helps improving the product. But yeah, that's the most important question: what of the feedback do you use? Yeah. And I think that's where there's still some sort of entrepreneurial skill. I mean, in the end, it's me and my brother who decide that. Yeah. And that's what makes us, what makes you stand out as a company. Yeah. And yeah, it's hard. It's a little bit in the
a bit of gut feeling plays a part,
exactly.
and customer feedback. Yeah. Nice.
And your company is also growing really fast. I already told it to the viewers before. Yeah. But why do you want to be so big?
Well, of course, you need to scale rapidly to offer the best service.
But why? You can also be just a small company, no?
Yeah, but because it has so much to do with technology, we need to have a lot of data to give the best service and to make sure there's always a vehicle within 100 meters for you. So we need to have as much data to see where is the demand at what time, and how can we make sure that the vehicles are always operational.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's where you need it. Okay.
It's a great question, because it seems to be the case. I don't know exactly why. Maybe it's because of technology, maybe it's because of globalization, but it seems to be the case that companies need to scale faster and faster in order to survive. Yeah.
Oh, is that the thing? Yeah. Because I was wondering.
For us, it's the same. I mean, in the past, you had thousands and thousands of small bicycle brands all over the world. I think nowadays, because of global production, because of vertical supply chains, it works much better if you do it on a bigger scale and if you do it on a global. And what works better means we can offer higher quality, high tech, but still affordable e-bikes.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
that's
if
what
you're
we
really
want.
small, you cannot survive anymore.
No, and it seems to be that gets worse and worse. I don't have the exact answer for that. Maybe you have,
But that's a good. Maybe
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're operating so globally nowadays. So it seems like all these products, I mean, you guys, you're going into the US, there's producers of these bikes in the US, so you're looking at a global competition landscape. And I guess that also goes for us. You want to be a winner. There's a certain entrepreneurial drive to be a winner, but you're also looking at like, we don't want to be beaten at some point. So there's also the survival drive and that combination, then I think,
I've got a few words here you're really comfortable with, but I've never heard them. Had never heard them before until now. From omni-channel experience to data insights, especially the first one, omni-channel experiences. But how do payments play part in the business plan?
Oh yeah, omni-channel I will talk about because it's.
I know what it is, but it was the first ever I read it. Yeah.
No, it's something that's a big deal for in the payment space. But I think in general, what we see with so many technology companies, that data is a key driver for a lot of companies nowadays. And I wonder how it is for you guys, but for us, payments is more and more an enabler for data-driven businesses. What does it mean? Very generic. I'll give you an example, because specifically now in these COVID times, we've had companies that have been working with Adyen in processing payments in store as well as online. Now what happened, these companies suddenly saw a large department store in the UK, they suddenly saw order in-store traffic disappear, zero, all their stores closed, and massive peak online. What's really important for them nowadays, for these companies, to get a feeling for who are these new customers. We see 3 times as many people online. Who are they? And they had a discussion internally. Oh no, we think they are people that moved from the normal in-store to online. It's the same customer. Our data can help them tell them that they're actually new customers. So they're attracting many new customers. Really valuable insights for them. So these things, for many companies, the data are really key. And what we try to do with payments is give a lot of those insights. But I think what you're saying is also a lot of data that you get to try and improve your product, right? Or
yeah, definitely. I mean, first and foremost, payments needs to be seamless for us. We have a complex situation. We have stores all over the US, Europe, and Japan. On top of that, we have online stores all over the world. And now, to make it even more complex, we have mobile bike doctors coming to your house, and to repair bikes. So that means online mobile payments too. And you want all those payments to be seamless. Now, if on top of that we can get data from those payments on top of our own data, that can be really helpful. To get more knowledge of our customers, to get to know them better, and therefore to improve our products.
Yeah, I think what we have seen in the past year is we started in one city, but we wanted to know how it would be in another city. So we did a lot of A and B testing to see which payments are being done easier. And in the beginning, we thought a lot of young professionals are going to use our service. And our first news article was about a father and a son. They were 40 and 70 years old, demanding for more scooters. And that also changed our mind in also the payments, in what we need to offer and how easy it needs to be. Because it's not only the student that is using the service, but everyone is using it in the city. And when scaling from first city to now 28 cities, we have seen that in every city there's a different demand for payment providers, but also for the service. And it's being used in some cities only for university, and in others to day-to-day work that they need to travel. So it's totally different. And there the payment is just important to completely fulfill that need.
Yeah. And if you talk about future-proof your business, it means also giving something back to the world, as they say. How does corporate responsibility fit in your strategy? Can you tell me that?
Well, for Go Sharing, it's really important. I have seen a lot of kick scooters in the other countries around us and was interested about shared mobility. But the problem with the kick scooters is they have an average lifetime of 120 days.
What is a kick scooter?
A kick scooter is the one you can push. In Belgium and Germany, you see a lot of kick scooters.
Yeah.
So it's a small step. And then we wanted to start a sharing operation ourselves, but really want to make impact and be environment friendly. So our scooters are not being used for 120 days, but for over 7 years. And also, they're fully electric. We already saved over 500 tons of CO2 within 14 months of existing, but also we do the full operations 100% electric. So we have power rangers driving around that are the people who are changing the batteries, and they're all driving fully electric.
But when a brand says like, hey, I'm green, I'm doing something back to the world, as a consumer like me, who is not like in a business, not working for a big company and not a CEO or whatever, it's sometimes difficult to know if it's like a marketing tool, like, hey, I'm green, buy more stuff, or if a brand is really green and wants to do something good. How can I know the difference? Or is there no difference?
There's definitely a difference. How to tell that? That's a good question. Yeah, that's just a question about doing a little bit of research on your own. And I think
you know what I mean. Like they say, like we're doing a lot
like,
of buy. This is really green and this and that, and then I think, well, of course, it's a hype now to be green and all of that. But do I buy it because it's better, or do I buy it because I'm a victim of advertising?
No, that's true. I mean, a lot of the oil companies are investing massively in green campaigns or greenwashing.
But what about you guys? Do you like go sharing? Is it really handy for you that it's green, or is it really? Do you really want to give something to the world?
Yeah, of course, we want to make a green world where shared mobility is available for everyone. And especially the electric part is really important, because we take the public space and we use it for our commercial service. So if it would be with gasolines, there won't be any business model, because we weren't allowed to use the public space. So we really want to do something back, and that's also really important. We want to offer the shared mobility to everyone, but it is also from everyone. So you give away your ownership of your car, and you're going to use a shared vehicle. So it's a service for all of us. So then, of course, we also need to do something back for the world.
Okay, I believe you. For today, no, I believe you. What can our viewers expect for the future from your companies, for your ambitions?
Yeah, for us, it's even better service. So in the past 11 years, we reinvented how bikes are produced and designed and made. And in the next 5 years, we will reinvent how bikes are serviced. So that means if customers want that, a mobile bike doctor at their house who can fix their issues on the spot as soon as possible with a seamless payment online.
Yeah, it's really you order, we serve.
Yeah. If customers want it, I mean, if they want to come, if they rather come by in the brand store and have it serviced there, that's fine too. But if they want, we can come to their house and help them out.
And how many hours do you sleep at night? Do you still have time to go on a vacation, or because you already said like they've got more demands, customers every time. So
no, to be honest, last year was really tough because of the pandemic and the crazy growth. I mean, the company is doubling in revenue for 5 years in a row now, and it seems to get harder and harder. It was easier to get from 2.5 million to 5 than from 40 to 80 this year. So yes, there was no holiday for me this year, but
a normal night of sleep.
Yeah,
not really.
No,
even not an hour.
Yeah. Okay. Well, young kids too. I get young kids too, so that's not a perfect combination.
Yeah. So actually, you say you don't know what the future brings, because what the customers demands, you will serve, more or less, right?
Not really. I mean, we have to stay focused on our core. I mean, if that's what we did 11 years ago, and when we started this company, and that's what we did 7 years ago when we switched to e-bikes. And if you, you can't always listen to the customers. Sometimes you have to follow your own instincts and your own vision. That's why we were ready for this, for the massive growth in this pandemic. Yeah. But it really helps as a company to use as much knowledge and data you can get for the customers to improve your products.
Okay. What about you, Raymond?
Yeah, we're just started. So we're only 14 months live, so we're really thinking about expanding even faster. So it shouldn't only be scooters. You want to offer a full service. So whether that's a bike or a scooter or a car, you want to offer it all in one system. So whether it's raining or sunshine, you can always take a product nearby. So for us, it's just started. We have now almost 4,000 vehicles live, and we want to have 100,000 electric vehicles live within 5 years.
Also electric bikes?
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe we need to catch up.
No, it's no uh-oh. It's a perfect combination. I think that there's always a combined market of people who commute on a daily basis. They should always have their own e-scooter or e-bike. And for visitors of cities and tourists, it's great to share mobility. And people travel more and more after the pandemic. So there will always be a combination of both systems. Yeah. That's what I believe. I hope you agree.
You're going to be really big in the future.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, let's hope so. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Roeland, Taco, and of course, Raymond. I'm feeling really excited for the future after this talk. Now, let's not forget that we're all working together to support the future of OnlyFriends. So let's see where our donations are at since yesterday. It's nearly 3,000 euros. Well done. To be exact, 2,989 euros. Well, that's almost 3,000 euros. Now, it's easy to focus on the best way to sell a product, but what's the best way to deliver that product once it's sold? Let's find out. Plus, take another look at what OnlyFriends have been up to.
When a customer completes a purchase in your online store, you make a promise to deliver a package to them. It sounds so simple, but this is an extremely complex process, especially when shipping cross-border with local delivery options. Puzzle takes care of the entire delivery process. Our single API integration simplifies all phases of your delivery, saving you money on complicated integrations and drastically decreasing customer service calls. Our technology creates a personalized delivery experience, considering where, when, and how your customer wants their package delivered. We help you grow your business globally by increasing conversion and customer retention while delivering on your promise. For more information, visit Puzzle.com. Puzzle, the power behind the promise.
Hoi, ik ben Dennis Gebbink. Ik ben de oprichter van OnlyFriends en van dit prachtige sportcentrum. Ik ben ertoe gekomen omdat mijn zoon geboren is met een dubbelzijdige hersenbeschadiging. Ik ben zelf altijd voetballer geweest en toen mijn jongen wilde voetballen vond hij weinig aansluiting bij gezonde kindjes. Dat is voor mij een teken om OnlyFriends op te richten en in 9 februari 2000 ben ik begonnen met 8 gehandicapte kindjes. En nu sporten er rond de 600 kinderen met een handicap. Kindjes met een hersenbeschadiging zoals Myron, maar ook kindjes met Down-syndroom, kindjes met kanker, kindjes met autisme. Kortom, prachtige kinderen die een extra setje in de rug nodig hebben.
Altijd een combi van 2, hè? Pam, pam.
Sport is enorm belangrijk, maar misschien is er nog wel veel meer dan sport. Want kinderen maken vriendschappen hier, ontvangen liefde, leren regels, leren discipline. En we kijken vooral wat kinderen wel kunnen. OnlyFriends kunnen ze 24 verschillende sporten doen. En we sporten met heel veel liefde, met heel veel inzet en met heel veel plezier. We hebben kickboxers in rolstoelen, voetballers in rollators. Maar ook kinderen die de Paralympische Spelen wel kunnen halen. Maar bij ons is het wel, je bent goed zoals je bent. En elk kindje vindt hier zijn plek.
Yeah, next up we have 2 really special discussions prepared for you with a twist. This is a choose your own adventure kind of situation. You'll need to choose between 2 talks. If you want to hear André ten Wolde, CEO of Domino's Europe, discuss the secret to global expansion, then stay right here. If you want to hear our Adyen experts discuss the technology of carbon offsetting with Adyen's CFO Ingo Uitenhage and Adyen business analyst Brian O'Malley, then click the Adyen Talks stage option in the menu bar. If you choose the second option, don't forget to return to this main stage afterwards to continue watching the show. Make your choice now and let's go. Well, let's begin with our main stage talk with André ten Wolde. André turned Domino's Pizza into the #1 pizza chain in the Netherlands and has now set his sights on the rest of Europe. Here's André, the CEO of Domino's Europe, to talk about fresh, hot innovation, the secret to global expansion. André, welcome.
Cheers, thanks for having me.
I've got a really open question as the first one. Can you tell us something about yourself?
I've been with Domino's for 15 years. I started as an interim job. I had no previous experience in food, delivery, retail, restaurants.
Because what did you do before?
My previous jobs have always been in the music industry. I worked for a large events organizer before called Adyen Elevate.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of large dance events.
So you had a wild time there?
I worked really hard, yes. And years before, I was the CEO for TMF, the music factory. And before that, I worked for several record companies. So if people ask me, what is your career? I always round discs as all of my things because I started at record companies when there's still a lot of vinyl around. And I'm still in the large round discs business today.
Okay. So this is completely something new for you, the pizza.
It was totally new for me. After I ended my career with Adyen Elevate, I wanted to have a sabbatical for a year. I managed to do 6 months.
Because you were tired, or because what was the reason?
Yeah, just because I needed to refocus and do something else, and I didn't know what. So I thought, let's just take some time to rethink. And after 6 months, I got a call from someone saying, from a friend of mine actually saying, you have some. Is it itching already? Do you want to work again? I said, no, not really. What do you have? And he said, I'm calling on behalf of Domino's. I said, never heard of it. I had no idea what it was.
No, because you never ordered their pizza? Or
No. Up to that point, I've never had a pizza delivery at home.
Why not, no?
No, I lived pretty central, so the restaurants were close by, so I didn't do home delivery back then. Okay. So I got into a plane to, back then, the US, because the US owned the rights for the Benelux, and had an interview, which I told my wife it's going to be a nice trip. I'll do some shopping over there and get back, because I'm never going to get this interim gig because I don't know anything about this business. And then a couple of days later, they called, what do you want to accept this 6-month tenure thing? And I got a little bit hooked because I talked to a couple of franchisees, really young guys, really proud guys about their business. And I started to think that delivery might be something that is actually a thing and also a growing thing.
Yeah.
And especially the digital delivery side of things.
Especially now, probably.
If I talk to my kids, they were already into that, and I was being my old self.
Yeah. Why do you, when you go back, why do you think they chose you, like with no experience in the interview?
What they were looking for was someone who came recommended, and my friend recommended me. B, it wasn't the issue they had back then was that it was managed out from the US, and you had franchisees here in the Netherlands, and the relationship between the US and the franchisees was not very good. So I think they were looking for a sort of people guy and who could relate to people instead of necessarily the product or the business, and can see if we could get them back together. After 6 months, my conclusion was that they should not run it out of the US, but find a master franchisee who ran it here with local knowledge. And I found that master franchisee on the other side of the world, actually in Australia. There was a company there that ran Domino's over there, had sort of reached potential and was looking to expand. And I convinced them to actually buy the Netherlands, Belgium, and France. to my surprise, they asked me to stay on, which was another 6 months, you know how this works. Another 6 months, another 6 months.
Now you're 15 years later.
15 years later, I'm still here.
Another question: Can you tell us a bit more about your business? How is it structured? What is your business model? Who are your customers?
Yeah, so Domino's is a 62-year-old brand from the US, and it's been a delivery brand forever. And in the US, the original owners of the brand still run the business. They 6,000 plus stores there. Outside of the US, typically they look for master franchisees, local businesses that run their brand here. So it is a franchise model, but it's a franchise model with a lot of freedom. That's what I like about it, and it's also very adaptable to certain markets. I think the success of Domino's is that it adapts to the local market in toppings and what is a pizza. A pizza is not the same in every market. If you look at Japan, pizza looks totally different.
Yeah? How?
Yeah, well, toppings, for instance, there's a lot of them, and they're very luxury things on there. They have salmon and caviar on pizzas, where we do pepperoni, right?
Yeah. Okay.
We do shawarma here in the Netherlands, which is awful. I'm not a fan.
You sell it at
I do sell it.
I
it's not me who decides; it's the customer that decides.
I think when you have a hangover, it's quite good.
It is a very good hangover pizza. Yeah. I give you that. I give you that. It's a very good hangover pizza. But I think the success is that the product itself is very, very adjustable, and you get a lot of freedom within this system. I can't change the logo. The logo is whatever it is, but I can change what is a pizza. And that in India, we are the biggest QSR brand because we know what Indians like on a pizza, and also that they don't have big budgets, so they actually sell smaller size pizzas. So. Yeah. We don't have a Big Mac or a Whopper, which is the same everywhere, but we cater to the local needs.
Yeah, and you already told a bit about it, that tech is more and more important right now, or order and delivery and things like that. And now, especially due to Corona, of course, even more important. What impact did it have on Domino's?
Well, it basically did two things. First of all, we do delivery and we do carry out. People can pick up a pizza, right? Delivery went through the roof immediately, almost instant, after people went shopping for toilet paper and stuff. Then
order pizza, yeah.
And because I think all of us wanted to cook every night at dinner, but after a week that got stale and they started ordering pizza. So instantly our delivery numbers were up massively. On the other side, and that's a smaller part of our business, the carry-out, the pickup side of our business, that hurt significantly. People didn't trust themselves to go out on the street. One of the other things it did was, with our growth, we had issues getting enough staff to actually deliver. And it sometimes pains me to say, but with all the restaurants closed, there was a lot of staff available. So all of a sudden, I think in the Netherlands, and numbers in Germany and France are way bigger, but in the Netherlands, we hired 4,000 additional people in the first 4 or 5 weeks to be able to deliver all those pizzas to the customer. So you might say that it's been, to a degree, beneficial for us, but it also took a lot of hard work. We were the first, after 2 days, to introduce zero contact delivery, where we put the pizza for you in front of your door on a stool and stepped away, so we get to have the distance. So we immediately had to do a lot of changes and bring a lot of technology forward that we were already thinking about, but we're planning to roll out later, which was very relevant during the COVID.
What kind of technology are you talking about?
Well, one of the things which is not as relevant maybe for the Netherlands, but for other markets, is car park delivery. People our car park at our stores, people didn't really necessarily want to go into a store. Outside was fine. So we gave them the option to just park in front of our stores, and we came out and brought the pizza to the store, put it in the boot or in the back, and you could drive on. Sort of a smart drive-through.
Yeah, and do you
can't do that in every store. Some stores are in city centers where it's hard to get by car or park. But even if you came by bike, we would just go out, give you the pizzas, and you could move on.
Is it an American model, or did you got the idea yourself?
good ideas always have a lot of people who invented it. It was definitely not our ideas. Our best ideas in our business come actually out of stores. Imagine a store has 30, 40 people working there, and they're mostly really young people, really smart people. They do it next to their school or their university, and the best ideas come out of school, out of the stores.
Yeah,
so I wish I could take credit for this one, but no, it's not me.
Yeah, so always listen good to the people that work in your store.
100%.
Well, there are great, big ambitions to expand and grow in the Netherlands also this year. How can you achieve this?
Well, how do you achieve this? Obviously, we're in a market that grows exponentially. Home delivery, Domino's has done that for 60 years, so someone 60 years ago had a vision which was spot on. But it took a long time, and obviously the US is always a little bit more progressive in these things than we are. But look at Europe. Delivery, and with all the delivery aggregators, the Uber Eats, the takeaway.coms, people get more stuff delivered almost daily. So, and not just pizza, obviously. It used to be only pizza. So you could say we were sort of the game changers in that. But now it's groceries, it's all your food, it's your meal packages, it's your shoes.
Yep.
I mean,
everything.
Everything gets delivered these days. So we're growing with that. Our model is a little bit different from, let's say, the Amazon model, who builds this big shed in the middle of a country and then starts delivering by cars to people's homes. We want to be close to the customer because we think when you're craving food, you want it delivered fast.
Yeah.
So in the Netherlands, we have well over 300 stores that only deliver in a 2-kilometer radius, basically.
Yeah.
We don't want to go further because A, your pizza doesn't get any better when we drive for a long time.
I heard that the pizza is one of the most difficult food things to deliver.
I think the contrary. I think it's the easiest to deliver. I think fries are really poor to deliver, and burgers because they don't hold a lot of heat.
Okay, so pizza is good to deliver, but still you choose the 2 kilometers.
You're right if you think about the traditional Italian pizza that we all love. I think it is a crime to deliver that because it's thin, it doesn't hold a lot of pizza. And you should eat that straight out of your wood-fired oven. Yeah. You should not deliver that. That is my personal opinion. People may differ about that. And in all honesty, what we call pizza is a designed pizza to be delivered. It has a little bit more bread, it has a little bit more cheese, a little bit more sauce, so it holds the heat longer. So it's designed for delivery. That's our DNA, that's our heritage. And people ask me, why can't I get that really thin, beautiful Italian pizza? We could make that, but we can't deliver it. And personally, I don't think you should eat it out of a box. You should eat that at the Mediterranean with a nice glass of Barolo with some friends in the sun.
In the sun.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
With a good glass of wine.
Yeah.
And you told us about your ambition to grow. What things are key to support that ambition? What do you need?
We need people. We need good people. We need good franchisees. We need good managers to run the store. Because I think the system being as old as it is and as developed as it is, and with all the digital additions that we've put on, that's there. The system works. But it is amazing to see how one store can differ from the other store, and the only thing that's really different in that store is the people in it. And we need talent. We put a lot of effort in getting new franchisees in, new managers in. We're not looking for investors, we're looking for people that are passionate about what we're doing. And those are hard to come by. And so the one thing that it's, especially now, it's not locations. We can find locations. We don't need money. We have the money, we can invest. It's the people that we're looking for. And I think more and more people are starting to see this delivery age. I think the next 10 years you'll see delivery booming even more. And this COVID situation has propelled that basically. And some restaurants start to do delivery by themselves, and they start to find out how hard it is if you don't have all the systems in place to actually do it. So I'm guessing more people will look at a system like Domino's, where that is all thought through and the digital side is covered, and might join us to grow.
Last question, because I could talk with you for hours, but of course, unfortunately, it's not working like that. Well, from growing locally to tackling international expansion, what do you think? Can you tell us something about the barriers you have to overcome? What are the biggest barriers?
I think the biggest barriers, they change. The big barrier when I started, you can imagine I went from a pretty glamorous company with my kids still hate that I made this decision, even though they go to every event that there is. But it was sort of the image of the business. The image of the business used to be combustion scooters driving too fast through a red light, very regularized business, maybe not very clean, and to a very tech-driven, tech-savvy business that is very organized, has their systems in place. I think the biggest barrier sometimes, especially not with youth, they understand it now, but especially with older people, they go, oh, pizza business. And I think you have that with landlords, you have that with municipalities. If you want a permit, they go, oh, pizza delivery.
So you mean the
business.
Image is the biggest barrier to overcome?
I feel that, but maybe that's just my age group, because my kids and kids up to 30 or young families, they don't feel that anymore. I still feel that when I get to do presentations like this, they go, I think lots of people switched to the other channel because they thought, what does this pizza guy do?
But once we hear you, now we hear you, so the image is better, maybe.
All right, that's why
I don't have that idea, but
maybe it works.
I wish you a lot of luck.
Thanks,
Lauren. André.
Thanks for having me.
Hope you enjoyed your adventure. Before we move on, let's take a few minutes to explore the future of mobile in-store payments, plus an exciting update on Adyen's buy online, return in store solution, which has become very handy in today's strange times.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth, and today I'm in this beautiful Domino's store in Leiden. I'm going to tell you a lot of things about this self-order kiosk from Domino's. We got this kiosk since the beginning of September. Since day one, we saw that it was used intensively. Immediately after the installation of this order kiosk, we saw a very nice and significant increase of our average order value. Due to the location of the order kiosk, visitors walk directly towards the order kiosk and enter their order independently. Domino's and Prestop have developed this order kiosk together. The LED lighting gives a unique and recognizable Domino's branding to it. The order kiosk is not only attractive in design, it also generates significantly more turnover and is sustainable.
Now let's get an update on our donations for Only Friends. It's 4,305 euros. Yeah. Okay, it's now time for another Choose Your Own Adventure. You have the choice of two different talks. If you want to see Lean and Green, the new business of mobility, with Raymond Pauwels, CEO of GoSharing, then stay right here. If you want to hear about new ways of selling contextual commerce with Jan-Pieter Lips, Head of Retail and Hospitality Solutions from Adyen, then select the Adyen Talk stage option in the menu bar. And don't forget to come back to the main stage afterwards for our final chat. Ready, set, go! Yeah, sorry. You might have seen their bright green scooters zooming down the street, and if you haven't, you will soon. GoSharing is a startup with ambitions to become the electric scooter biggest system of Europe, starting first with Eindhoven. This startup went from 0 to 4,000 sharing scooters in the Netherlands in 12 months. A multi-million-dollar investment after just 2 months enabled them to do so. And a new round of funding will mean international expansions. Before we start, this is another chance to enter your questions in the group chat. Wow, Raymond.
Hi, Laura.
Hey.
Hi.
Smooth entrance.
Thank you. Give me 1 second. I will just enter my rental. So there it is.
Oh, you enter it with the app, of course?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can use our service just really easy through our app. And there you see all the scooters in your area that you can rent. And you only pay per minute, so I can just end it whenever I want.
Okay. And you come all the way from Eindhoven, Amsterdam, what is it?
Yeah, so it's only for the last mile. So I only came the last couple of kilometers with the scooter. But you can use it in already over 25 cities in the Netherlands.
That's a lot, eh? You already told us a bit about it before, but I've got a lot of other questions for you. Yeah. Your company has got a unique approach to expansion. Yeah. You started with Eindhoven and not, for example, Amsterdam or a big city. Can you tell me a little bit more about this strategy?
GoSharing wants a greener planet with shared mobility by everyone for everyone.
Yeah.
So what we want to offer is shared mobility in every city. And what we have seen is that the biggest opportunity for us is in the smaller cities between 100,000 and 200,000 citizens, where you don't have an Uber or a perfect public transport. And there we see the big impact of offering electric scooters.
So that's why you choose the smaller cities?
Yeah, so those cities where you see the issues, for example, at nighttime, there is no train or bus that is leaving and coming every 5 minutes.
Or no subway, for example. Yeah.
And that is where the electric scooters are helping people to get from A to B much better than as we are seeing in Amsterdam, for example. But of course, we're also coming to Amsterdam.
Yeah, that's what was my next question. I mean, like, is Amsterdam in the planning?
Yeah, so we,
for example, like another big city like Rotterdam. Are you in Rotterdam?
So we're already in Rotterdam,
okay.
And also Den Haag, for example. So we're already in 25 cities. Last month, we just launched in 2 new cities. Last week, we opened Amersfoort, and today we're opening Haarlem. So we're going really rapidly to a lot of new cities.
All the cities in Holland, probably, yeah? Yeah, well, you're expanding really fast, you're telling it. Can you tell me a little bit about your growing pains?
Yeah, well, we started just 40 months ago with 3 employees with the idea of offering shared mobility in the Netherlands. Mm-hmm. And of course, we had a lot of issues in the beginning. The app was just live for 1 week. We got 200 scooters in our first city, but we didn't have any power rangers. The power rangers are the people that are changing the batteries for us. So we had to do it ourselves. So sometimes we needed to go out of bed at 4 to change the batteries,
really?
Taking a shower at 8, and then to start your day at work.
So you were really tired.
So it was a really cool experience,
yeah.
But we're just starting. We're only existing 14 months. We already are the biggest shared mobility provider in the Netherlands, and now we really want to grow.
And how many employees do you have now?
Now we are working with 150 people that are working for GoSharing, where we have a big part of it on our operational side, that are changing the batteries, making sure that everything is clean and there where they need to be. But we also have a big office where we're working on our expansions.
Did you expect it, that you would grow so fast when you started?
Of course, we were hoping for it, but I could never imagine to be here on Elevate next to Adyen and Picnic, really big companies that we are looking up to. And it's just really cool to see so many electric scooters in so many cities that being used by thousands of people every day again.
Yeah. You breed electric scooters. Like you breed it, it's like all day, after 14 months. Okay. What do you consider your key needs in expansion?
So for the expansion that we're doing now and also going international, of course, technology is a big part of it. We are working a lot with data, but also local employees and local knowledge is everything.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you need to, Okay, that's clear.
So for example, the Netherlands is the only country in Europe where you're allowed to drive without helmets. So if we want to start in Belgium or Germany, for example, the speed will be doubled to 45 kilometers per hour, but you will also need a helmet. So that's alone a really big impact on making a growth, but also on the payment providers. In the Netherlands, everyone is paying with Ideal or maybe a MasterCard. But if you go to Germany, you will use Klarna and many other options to do payments. So also for the technology part, we need to be efficient, but also flexible to change.
And when do you think you're going to move to Germany, for example? Or?
We're going to be fully international next year, so we want to extend really quickly. And also the electric scooter is a great way to get around, but maybe it shouldn't be only an electric scooter. It should be the mobility that you need whenever you want, wherever you want.
Yeah, you told us already it can also be like an electric bike or even a step or a car.
Yeah, so the electric kick scooters in the other countries are really popular, but in the Netherlands not allowed. But we are really convinced of the electric scooters for the region. But if you see in the city centers, it should be healthy mobility, for example, electric bikes. And if you go from one city to the next one, you should use electric cars. So in the end, shared mobility should be a full option to change your ownership in one car to an app where you have all the mobility you need.
Yeah. How does technology help you achieve this change? Well, you're already telling it, huh?
Yeah. The technology is the biggest part for us. We need a lot of data to know where do you want your vehicle whenever you need it. So if you're out of office, everyone wants to have the same scooter. So how can we provide so many scooters that you always have them on the spot whenever you need? So technology is really important, and also the data behind it. If you look at the technology, of course we have an app. So we can test a lot in the app, do A testing and B testing in different cities and see what is working. Or maybe do different payments to see which one is easier and being most chosen by customers.
What if you have like a downfall of technology, like a provider, for example? Does it happen?
Well, we're still working with technology, so we're also on a provider. So we're like T-Mobile or Vodafone or KPN. That's also where our scooters are always connected and showing if they're available, where they're standing.
Yeah.
So it could be that we have a downtime and then we have no clue where the scooters are.
Did it ever happen?
So a downtime could be if, for example, a T-Mobile or Vodafone.
Did it ever happen?
The downtime with Vodafone did happen.
Okay, yeah.
But luckily for us, we still were active and could react on it. But still, we're working with technology.
Yeah. You had a bit of stress then, I can imagine, eh?
Yeah.
What is your visual on creating loyalty and brand recognition? And I mean with creating loyalty, like, of course, loyalty from the consumer.
Yeah. So we already have over 500,000 customers in our app. But the biggest challenge is not only to get them in the app, because we have over 1,000 marketing products on the street that everyone is seeing, because that's our biggest marketing. It's really in the app to get loyal customers that are using it daily and are really convinced to not have a car, but to use the mobility that is offered. So for us, loyalty is really, really important. And also the branding. I mean, you cannot look away from the green scooter.
It's good, it matches, the Adyen colors.
It's perfect.
A bit.
Yeah.
Who chose the colors?
We have chosen the color ourselves. We really want to make an impact. So we not only want to offer shared mobility, but we really want to make an impact in making it greener. So the scooter is an example of it. But for example, also the operations are being done 100% electric. So all our employees are driving 100% electric through the city to change the batteries and also to make sure the scooters are always parked properly.
Yeah, okay, that's good. What are the next steps for your business?
Yeah, so we just started. We're only 14 months old, and we already have 4,000 scooters on the road. But for us, it's really a start of something way bigger. We want to offer shared mobility in every region, And not only the scooters, but also bikes and cars, what I said before. And we're now only in the Netherlands. So we need to expand quickly to a lot of countries to make sure that if you go on holidays, there will also always be a go-sharing ready for you.
And what do you think, like, is there also like, are you going to expand to the Chinese market, for example, or to United States or something like that?
Yeah, so the interesting part is that in China, the shared electric scooters are really normal. You see electric scooters everywhere, way more than it's in Europe.
Yeah?
So also in China, you see way more electric scooters. If you go outside of the Netherlands, most used is the kick scooters. But the biggest thing with the kick scooters is they only stay alive, so have a lifetime of 150 to 200 days. With this electric scooter, we have a lifetime of over 7 years. So that's real impact.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is, of course, offer it to different countries in Europe where they're familiar with electric scooters, but also electric bikes. And for example, America is a complete different country, but that's our biggest challenge to do.
Let's see if there are some questions from the audience. Let's see. Should inner cities become free of private cars and replaced by shared electric micro-mobility, somebody asks?
Yeah, beautiful question. It's something on our mind every day, of course, that we also get from municipalities that are asking us, well, how is it going to look like in 10 to 15 years? And I do think that micro-mobility is much better fitting in the city center. So of course, if you want to go from one to another city, you will have a car or use car sharing or public transport. But in the city center, we have seen with COVID that a lot of people do not use their own cars or the public transport, and everyone was on a bike or a scooter, which is using. So we see that cities can adapt to shared mobility. And I do think that if you just take 2 parking spots for a car, we're able to put 15 shared scooters. They're being used multiple times a day. Then of course we need to change something about car ownership. And I wouldn't say it should be fully out, but at least we have a big step to do in the next coming years.
Do you have a car yourself?
I do have an electric car, because we're not active in my home city, unfortunately, but I'm hoping that we can change it quickly if we will have the full service ready.
Okay, so then you go everywhere by scooter?
Of course, and by car or bike or public transport, but I will never have my own car anymore then.
Okay, I've got more questions for you. Oh, there are coming more questions in. I don't know if we can all... Okay, what kind of environmental impacts have you already made?
I think that's also an important one, that when we started Go Sharing, we were looking at how can we make that impact. So we talked to power suppliers in seeing how can we get green electricity also in the batteries. And how can we make sure that we're not losing so many scooters as they're doing with the kick scooters. So we started 14 months ago with just 100 scooters on the road. Now we have over 4,000 scooters that are being used daily, and we have saved 500 tons of CO2 already. So that's, I think,
a lot,
the biggest.
Eh? Yeah, it's a lot. You're proud of that, huh?
Yeah, I'm really proud that we see our small idea to become a real solution. And that's also something with the COVID, is that in the beginning people saw it as something they could use to go to friends. And now, because of the COVID, people also see it as a real solution, that they can travel from A to B and do it individually. So they can use it and go from A to B without needed to go and take the bus or the train.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Next question. Oh, where are you in 10 years? I don't know if this person means like you as a person or you with your company, but...
So I'm hoping still with Go Sharing, because we can only grow. So of course we're now really learning from the first year that we have had, and now we want to change it to a real scale up. So in the next years we really want to scale and making sure we can grow in other countries, but also making our service more complete, being 24/7, but also making sure you have memberships and business accounts so you can share your wallet with other people. And for me, I just hope we can extend with electric vehicles and maybe electric drones or whatever is needed to transport people from A to B.
Electric drones?
You never know.
You never know. You're fantasizing. Like, oh, that's cool. What role does payment play in your growth strategy?
A big one. Because what we have seen, when you can build a website, you can do a lot of marketing, but in the end, everyone is in the app. So we skipped the website. We had the basic website that was 500 euros. And we had no marketing. We had someone coming to our company as a marketing officer, and he said, I want to have 75,000 euros marketing budget for the new city. And I said, you will have €1,000, and the rest will do the scooters, because this is our branding. So also for the payments, it's just really important. Everyone is only looking in the app. And there the payments are being really important to do easily, but also to make sure that everyone can do the payment whenever they want. So whether you're using a credit card, PayPal, Ideal, everything should work, and also should work easily. So whether you do our option pay as you go, you just add a MasterCard, and you get a payment once every week, or you're buying a wallet. So you can also just buy 20 euros in credits, which earlier you had it with a phone company. So you just have 20 minutes, and if you used it, you cannot go into the red. So you have a lot of different options for your payments that are needed for the customers. Yeah. So that feedback is really important for us to improve the service that we're offering.
And the guy, is he still working for you for 1,000 euros?
Yeah, he's still working, and now he's really positive about the vehicles that are everywhere. And people really are going to see it as the full solution for them. And now he's also convinced that you don't need a big marketing budget to make an impact. The biggest impact is to offer the scooters with the best service you can, and really make a difference in the impact of being environment friendly.
Of course, because then people come back and they tell it to their neighbors and their friends and their children, la la la. Okay, to accomplish your mission, why not cooperate with Felix and check to accommodate customers?
So it is a good question, because, for example, in many cities you have a license to start, for example, 200 scooters. Other scooter suppliers will also start sharing their vehicles. So a big point is that we don't see them as competitors, but we see them helping us to adapt sharing scooters to be normal. Because if we only have 200 shared vehicles in Eindhoven, no one will see them. But if we will have 1,000 electric shared vehicles in Eindhoven, people will rely on the service and will really use it. So I think it's really important to use them together and in making an impact. But also, for example, we are working together with ANWB, with NS, the public railway company. So if you're in a train with NS, 5 minutes before you're leaving the train, you will get a push message, which is saying, do you want to extend your travel with a go-sharing scooter? And I think then you will have a real solution, because then you will have a full trip and a full solution for someone. So I would always like to work together with Jack and Felix.
Okay. Thank you, Ramon, for your inspirational and energetic talk with me and with us. Thanks a lot. Wow. Well, this brings us to the end of Elevate 2020. It's been great to hear from brilliant minds like Van Moof, Domino's, Go Sharing, and of course Adyen today. What an incredible 2 days of Elevate we've had. A big thanks to all our speakers, the Adyen event team, and of course all of you watching watching in the office or at home or wherever you are. Your time is valuable, so we really appreciate it. So let's check the final amount of donations for Only Friends and see what we have achieved together. 5,201 euros. 5,021 euros. Yeah, it's an amazing amount. Now, I would like to, if you would like to relive anything from the past 2 days, we'll be posting all our highlights to adyen.com soon. Please keep an eye on your inbox for the survey. You don't want to miss this one because it has a gift in it. Thanks again for tuning in, stay safe and bye for now.